Hi everybody, this is Jill and this is Jill for Today. Thank you for coming into my kitchen. Well, we're getting into the holiday baking season and I thought it might be nice to kind of get an idea of pantry items that are essential when you want to bake during the holidays. Now, of course, we all know about having lots of flour, whether it's just your all-purpose flour or bread flour if you're going to bake some bread. Of course, white sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar. So you have all those sugars kind of taken care of, and you have your flours taken care of. And of course, after your flours and your sugars, nuts. And there's so many recipes that call for nuts. And I always have on hand walnuts, almonds, pistachios, hazelnuts, pumpkin seeds. Those are probably the big ones. Pecans. The director just reminded me, pecans. Those are all really great. And again, you can buy those in bulk. Costco always has great nuts at a good price. So that's another one that during holidays will be called upon. But there's nuts. A whole lot more that I'd like to introduce to you and let you know what's available out there in the market and what you might see in some of your recipes. So let's get started. Well, here are some spices that you might be called upon when you are doing a recipe. Now, a lot of these I have bought bulk, so it doesn't cost quite that much, and I have my bottles all lined up. So I'm going to show you what I'm using, or I have on in stock. This is dried orange peel. Now, I did get this at Pensy's. It's a great product to have. Sometimes things call for orange peel. If you don't have it, any oranges, of course, this is a quick fix. And then we have ginger, of course, which a lot of gingerbread and spicy molasses type things you'll need for that. Here's allspice, another one that is called upon when you're doing breads or cookies, any kind of holiday baking. This is the kind of items that get called upon. And here we have nutmeg. Now, this is the ground nutmeg. I also have the nutmeg. I'll show you these little nuggets here. These are the whole nutmeg. And really, it's superior when you can get yourself a little grater and grate that off. See, as you can see, we've already been doing some grating. Oh my gosh, the fragrance is so good. So either one of those, both of those, it's good to have. Sometimes if you're in a hurry, a little dash of that nutmeg works. And then we have cinnamon. You know, that's like a staple. You should always have cinnamon because there's so many things that, if you want to do a sweetbread or cinnamon rolls, cookies. Oh my gosh, some savory items during the holidays call for cinnamon. So that's always a good one to have. Cardamom. Now this is a spice I don't use a lot of. There are some recipes that call for it. It has kind of a floral flavor, scent to it. So it's a thing that you use very sparingly. But some recipes do call for it, and it's missed if it's not in there. And then there's cloves, which the director's not too keen on because it has a very strong flavor. But again, it's one of those holiday baking, staples that you should have if you're going to get serious and get into it. And as I said, so many of these things you can buy in bulk, and they're pennies. Pumpkin pie spice. That will take a lot of this off your table if you want to go with a pumpkin pie spice and think of that as the alternative. And then here is anise. There are some things that call for anise, some Italian cookies, some breads, more of the ethnic style breads might call for anise seed, but if you're not going to do anything like that, you probably don't need it. And then again, of course, this was the dried nutmeg. So those are the spices that you probably should have when you want to do some baking. So now that we've gotten some of those essential spices lined up, I've got some other baking staples that if you are going to do some baking during the holiday season, they should be in your pantry. So I'll start showing those right now. So I know I might get a big rap because I'm talking Crisco. Okay, I only use it during the holidays, and I use it sparingly, like for pie crusts, things that actually call for Crisco. It's plant-based, And I know, okay, but it's Crisco and we're going to use it. And then we have, of course, chocolate chips. I mean, what can I tell you? How many recipes call for chocolate chips? Now, these I bought in bulk, in the bulk bin at the grocery store, and they're really good. Now, these are vegan. And there are others, of course, that aren't if you want to go with more of a milk chocolate. But these are a nice semi-sweet, and they are plant-based, which is very exciting. Coconut. You might want a coconut for different things that might come up that you, and this is the shorter version. It's not sweetened, it's awfully good. And of course you know the longer, like Baker's brand, that's a good one. I actually have a bag of that in my freezer. But here again, coconut is a wonderful one to have. And pumpkin, right? What can I say? I am a person that always has cans of pumpkin on my shelf during the holiday. And what's nice about pumpkin is that if you open it up and you only need a half a jar or a half a can, and you don't know when the next time you'll be using it, put it in a container, date it, and put it in your freezer. And when you want to use it, defrost it overnight in your refrigerator, and it's just like you took it out of the can. Here's another one I'm sure I'm going to get a bad rap on. Caro syrup. Okay, again, how often do you use it? You know, caramel corn, some recipes just call for Caro syrup. And light corn syrup, this is now, you know, high fructose free. And so I have it on hand. I don't use it often, but when they say Caro syrup, I've got it, so I'm always glad I have it. Vanilla, of course. We always have to have vanilla, no matter whether it's baking time during the holidays or just every day. A bottle of pure vanilla extract is always a good thing to have. And then cream of coconut, or coconut milk, I guess is the best word, because this isn't cream of coconut. Of course, curries, there are some recipes that would call for actual milk or actual cream that you can substitute with coconut milk. So this is a good one to have. And you see, I go to Trader Joe's. It's a good, and it's organic, isn't it? Yes, it's organic. So it's a good deal. And I've got some of this. Again, I buy this in bulk. This is baking soda. Always have baking soda on hand, whether it's the holidays or otherwise. Always have baking soda on hand. And the same goes for baking powder. It's just something you should have on your shelf, no matter if you want to bake biscuits or quick breads. There's so many things that call for it, or pancakes, so it's a good one to always have. Now again, during the holidays, if you want to bake an apple pie and you're pressed for time, or you don't have apples, something like this, and it's made in all kinds of different, there's cherry, berry, anyway, it's a quick fix if you need to make a quick pie. So this is kind of a nice thing to have on hand if you're a pie baker. Maple syrup. A lot of things call for maple syrup, and it's a good one just to have on hand for pancakes, right? But if you're going to do granola, or there's different things that would call for honey that you might want to substitute maple syrup for, or again, there are items just that call for maple syrup because it has such a unique, warm, wintry flavor. So this is always a wonderful one to have on hand all season long. Cranberries, dried cranberries, of course, during the holidays is a good one to have. Again, you could buy these in bulk, and they last a really long time. Put them in a nice airtight jar, and they're always going to be there for you. Same goes for raisins. Another great one to have on hand during the holidays. Actually, anytime, but raisins is always a good one to have because a lot of recipes during holidays do call for raisins. Cocoa powder. Oops, let me get that out of the way here. Cocoa powder. There's the label. I bought this at Azure Standard, but again, this is something that you can buy in bulk, or like the good old Hershey's can of cocoa powder. This is unsweetened, it's not like hot chocolate. And again, there are recipes. If you want to make your own hot chocolate, this is where you would start, is cocoa powder. So that's another nice one to have on hand. Cornstarch. Now, sometimes things call for cornstarch. If you're going to make a a berry pie or a fruit pie and you don't want to use the canned fruit, sometimes cornstarch is going to help thicken that fruit juice up. So cornstarch is always a nice one to have. And again, this I got into the old Argo container that's a powdered in a cardboard, and I put it in this just to keep it dry. And I'm trying to see, oh yes, this is another great one. This is a convenience to me, and I love having it on my shelf. So many recipes call for a half a cup of applesauce. This is a half a cup of applesauce. So I have it if a recipe calls for it, like it's muffins or a quick bread or whatever it might be. And this is great. Then you don't have to open a big jar of applesauce. However, if you do open a big jar of applesauce, you can freeze it. Margarines, now this is the Earth Balance, and I don't have the whole package. This is my last cube. Earth Balance is a great baking margarine. It just has a really good quality to be more like butter, and so this is the one I use for all baking, sauteing, and all that kind of thing that calls for butter. And of course, last but not least is salt. A lot of us, tend to be salt-free, but again, during the holidays, even just a little bit, what this salt does, it helps accentuate the sweetness, actually. So salt's always a great one. Well, most people have it on their shelf always, but if you're going to do a lot of baking, so I think that's about it. Now, I know there is a lot there, and you may not need all of that. You may have things that I don't know, and if you have items that you use, I'd like you to leave that down in the comments section. It would be great to know what people use during the holiday season. Anyway, I think I've covered it. If you have any questions or comments, please do so. Leave it down in that comments section. I appreciate you being here in my kitchen today. I hope all of you are well and you are going to enjoy the holiday season. Subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed this video. I have an Amazon store, and I'll leave a link for that down below. And I will see you next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.